Okay, let's get started. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to remind everyone that the candidates will get 2 minutes for each for an opening statement. And then they will have 1 minute each to answer each question. As I ask the questions, I will rotate who answers first for each question, so it's not the same person all the time. Brian, you may start your 2 minute opening. Go.
Okay, the only thing that I'd like to say is an opening statement. My whole purpose in water at the position that I'm in is to bring a reliable source of high quality at the most affordable rate that we can have. And that's pretty much it. My experience is I've got 61 years this year in water. And I feel that that's worth quite a bit to me. I've done everything from working in the trenches all the way up to, for the last 35 years now, working as Director of Public Works and working as a director at Three Valleys Municipal, which has been the last 20 years. And during that 20 years, we've accomplished a lot of things up there. 4 new wells. We do water recharge. We do pretty much everything that the other candidates have talked about, but we're already doing it. And I can explain that maybe a little bit later on as we get into it. But that's where I'm at in my personal life. I'm married. I have 9 grandchildren. I have 7 great-grandchildren. And out of my whole family, there's 5 of us that are in water. Everything from a manager, I'm a director, but they've been managers. My son has been a director of public works, the water manager in Azusa, and now he has his own company right there in Claremont. And he's very, very involved in water. He's just got through coming back from Vienna and the World Water Conference that was over there, and he was the lead speaker in the conference. So again, my whole family is pretty much in water. And I've even got a granddaughter that's a manager of another water company in the office manager. So I think we're doing great, and that's where I got to stop.
Thank you. Jeff, you may give your 2 minute opening. Start.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jeff Hanlon. I'm a water policy researcher, a political scientist, and a teacher. I live in Claremont, and I'm running for the Division III director seat on Three Valleys because I envision some new directions for our water district. Here in Southern California, especially, our prolonged drought is a prelude to a much drier future. And the Colorado River and State Water Project, where we received the majority of our water, we're going to be losing capacity every year from here on out. And we need to find another supplemental source. And I think me and both other candidates agree on this, as well as most people in our district, but we differ on where to look and what to do. In response to climate change, our Governor Newsom has signaled his support for pledging $27 billion of state money, plus billions more in federal, to build new wastewater recycling capacity in the state, new groundwater recharge, and Metropolitan Water District, which Three Valleys is a member of, is working with LA Sanitation to set pilot programs in motion. These are great new initiatives. We know this is the future, and I'm really excited that there's money and political will behind it. We know it will dramatically increase our water supply, and yet Three Valleys is seeking more surface waters, imported waters. So I'm excited about these possibilities about how we govern water in our region, intergovernmental cooperation, integrated water resource management across ground, surface, and waste, pursuing projects to clean up and use more local groundwater, produce infrastructure that recharges our aquifers while beautifying our cities, and bringing water recycling to our region in the coming decades, I think are win-win-win strategies for citizens, the environment, and public agencies. And these are the long-term solutions that are going to take us deep into this century. In the next generation of Southern Californians, my kids included, I I'm newer to the region, but I have kids too, and I'm going to live out my life and career here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Javier, your opening statement, please.
Good evening. My name's Javier Aguilar. I'm a regional planner for over 25 years. So I've been looking at big problems throughout regions throughout the United States and Puerto Rico. I'm running for office because I'm compelled. We're at the I believe we're in the wrong direction. Well, I know we're in the wrong direction. Current water policies are causing consumers to pay more, much more, and we're receiving far less. I will present 3 points that will set me apart from the 2 other candidates. First, I will demonstrate how current policies are negatively impacting all consumers. Second, I will present a wide portfolio of solutions, not politics, to get us out of this crisis, because this is a nonpartisan issue. I will present you with short-term solutions, long-term solutions, in a longer vision to harness this crisis and transform it into an opportunity. Thirdly, I will provide leadership for more transparency and better outreach to all our communities. According to our incumbent, consumption has been the same for the last 20 years because we're conserving. And yes, this is a good thing. However, this means each of us are getting less water because of the growing population. Also, in addition, we have been paying probably about 4 times more for our water than before. And if you correct for inflation, basically 58% has increased in our water rates. However, our median income has gone up 20%. That means about 40% is hurting our disposable income. So when you go to the market, you're paying a lot more for a lot less. So this is concerning, and I will get to the other points as we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Okay, so I want to remind our audience that if you have a question that you would like us to ask, please put it in the question box down below, and we'll do our best to include it. Rachel is sorting questions for us. Okay, our first question is, few members of the public understand the relationship of the Three Valleys District and other water districts. What is the Water Board's role to inform them? And what is the role of our representative? And how does Three Valleys relate to the other districts that they are associated with? Jeff, you may start.
Okay, thank you. Three Valleys Municipal Water District is one member agency of Metropolitan Water District. And what it does is it as a member of that, it serves to import water to deliver to the companies and the municipalities that eventually deliver it to citizens. So it's a wholesaler. And its job is to go and seek out sources of water, secure sources of water for the constituents in the region. And so, you know, for say in Claremont, I'm a customer of Golden State. I pay them for the water. They have some of their own wells, but they purchase also imported water from Three Valleys, which gets it from Metropolitan Water District. So it's sort of a layers of organizations that bring water to us in this region. Brian probably is, you know, who's been there for a long time would probably do great at explaining this too.
Thank you, Jeff. Javier, would you like me to repeat the question?
So what is the role of Three Valleys as opposed to other water districts in our region?
And what is the role of our representative?
Okay, so the role of, as Jeff was explaining, Metropolitan is the big wholesaler. It's the biggest wholesaler in Southern California. They get our water from two sources, the Colorado River and the state water project. It's we get about 60% of our water exported, and then it gives it to our to Three Valleys, which is another wholesaler. And basically, Three Valleys sells it to both Golden State and the city of Laverne. As a board member, we look at different sources of how to get water for our area. So basically, from north to south, there's 29 different agencies, including Metropolitan. In our area, there's over 20 that Metropolitan. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Brian, would you like me to repeat the question? You're muted, Brian. You're muted. There you go.
I'm sorry, I muted so I didn't distract Javier or Jeff.
That's good. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, that's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Three Valleys, first of all, Three Valleys is one of the 26 agencies, as somebody already said. And as one of the 26 agencies, our job and responsibility as directors at Three Valleys, we are the wholesaler. We serve water to 520,000 people, but we only have really and truly 14 customers. They range from, if you go to the Northeast, it's Claremont, all the way over to Azusa, down through Covina, all the way down to Rowland Heights, Walnut, Diamond Bar, back up through Pomona. That's the area that we serve. Our job, as it says in our bylaws, if you will, is to find sources of water. When our manager brings that to us, we decide whether we want to go forward or not go forward and try to find more water. And the one thing that I want to bring up earlier or later in this program would be to explain exactly what we are doing right now. There's some that say we're not doing anything, but I'd like to explain it. Thank you.
Okay, next question. Brian, you will answer first. And the question is, what are your most important policy areas? What are your priorities for moving forward? And how do these priorities differ from what has been done in the past, what has been going on right now?
Okay, that's a lot of questions for 1 minute, but I'm going to work on it. Starting now, our number one job, my job, I feel, is water conservation. That's the cheapest thing because Metropolitan puts out $200,000 to us to work on conservation, and they're willing to give more. The other one is recycling. I'm definitely in favor of more recycling. Stormwater capture is the other one. We got desal. We also have the imported water that's coming from, we do not use California or the Colorado River water, but we do use state water here at Three Valleys. And the biggest thing is transfers and how we use those transfers of water from one entity to another. So when we start talking about it, those will be actually the 5 things that I'm very interested in. And we are working on them on a daily basis. Our staff is continually working on those 5 issues. And we've accomplished many, many of those projects already dealing with Metropolitan. If we had to pay for it ourselves, your water bill would be a lot higher than what it is. Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, same question. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, that's okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have a couple of short-term and long-term goals. In the short term, things that I would like to do are improve conservation resources for Three Valleys constituents, make Three Valleys sort of information clearinghouse and resources for people who are trying to figure out how to conserve water at the home scale. water recycling, just like Director Bowcock, and stormwater capture. These are things I think we need to go full steam ahead on, because they are just, this is the policy zeitgeist at the time. And also some different things though. I think we could be as an agency working with other similar agencies in the region to train up the next generation of water professionals by being involved in like IE works. I think we should we should also be much more transparent about the actions of the board in seeking out new imported water sources. I do not, oh, sorry, thank you. Man, that goes fast.
It does. Javier, same question.
Well, basically, my approach is multiple approaches at the same time. I think Brian does a good job with issues of importing water and seeking groundwater, but I was opposed to Cadiz. But in terms of the Delta conveyance, that's something that most people avoid because it's a political hot button, but we need it. We also need other things like resource recovery, which takes wastewater and we recoin it to not wasted water. So again, I have several policies, both short-term and long-term. Short-term, again, better communications to get the consumer how to save, in terms of turf removal, water efficiency appliances, and also just regular communications about purple pipes and other things that we can do. It's an all hands on deck.
Thank you. The next question is, how do you feel about getting paid to attend other events that are only peripherally related to your duties on Three Valleys? Jeff, you're first.
I'm not sure I understand the question. So being paid as a board member of Three Valleys to go to other events. Okay. I don't really think about the board position as a paid position. So I consider it a service, like an elected official service to the community, but it is not a paid job to me. So that is not something I expect or would expect to be receiving money for.
Javier, same question.
That's a good question. That's one of the first questions that I answered in my website, which I invite you to visit. Basically, a lot of people think that the director position is a full-time position, and it's not. They provide a stipend. And basically, I'm saying that my role would be to serve you, the public. And all the proceeds from my stipend, I'm going to donate it to a nonprofit, including the other opportunities, because I think nonprofits do the best job in outreaching the community. And we need to do a better job now to outreach to the communities, non-English and non-English minority communities, and the community at large, because there are many products or projects that people could benefit for. I was mentioning the easy stuff like turf removal, also water appliances, explanations. What is a purple pipe? If you drive down the east, you see purple pipes on the side, just to explain things like that.
Brian, same question.
Okay, first of all, as far as the meetings, yes, you get $200 a meeting. You're allowed up to 10 meetings. And I want to, Javier, I really appreciate what you just said a minute ago, because what I do, if I attend another meeting, in fact, I was at one today for the Colorado River, and I had the Bureau of Reclamation, we had the Colorado tribes along the river. We had the Colorado officer there. We had a number of the big shots were at this meeting. So yes, I attended that meeting, and yes, I will put it down. The reason for it is, and it is the only reason, I am also on the board at the foundation at Citrus. I'm on the board at David and Margaret Homes. I'm on the board at Leroy's Boys Home. And anybody that wants to can check my record. Every dime that I get goes to those charities, every dime. And every year I give between $20,000 and $25,000 to them as of right now. Thank you, Javier, for what you said earlier.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, sir.
Okay, next question. And Javier, you will answer first. After years of helping to fund studies of the Cadiz Water Project, the TVWMD board voted unanimously to stop the study. Then, on September 22nd, the BLM was ordered by a judge to take another look at the Cadiz project. It has also been stated that the $800,000 loan from TVMWD has not been repaid. How do these events affect your decision-making, and how do you think TVMWD should proceed?
Well, in terms of Cadiz, I've been opposed to it since day one. Basically, it's a short-sighted project that would bring long-term problems. So I was against it. You know, some developers didn't like it, but too bad. It was bad policy. And in terms of how everything went down, I think we need to be more transparent. Basically, as a taxpayer, all of us, we need to know how our money is being spent because we work hard for our money. Whether we need to know whether it's being spent appropriately or whether it's being squandered, you know, we just need to know. And the way it went, it wasn't very transparent, and we need to be more transparent, and we need better outreach to do this sort of thing. So yes, I think we should keep asking where the money is, because I was asked by a reporter and I said, good question. You need to ask the people that took the money. And okay, thank you.
Brian, your answer, same question.
Okay, real quick, it's easy to explain, I think. We started that project 12 years ago. Some people back then thought it was a great idea. The same people are looking at it today, and unanimously, as you said, on the 22nd at our meeting, unanimously, the board is backing out. It's not the project we're backing out of. We're backing out of the study of Bonanza Springs. And whatever happens between now and whenever the agreement is agreed on between Aqualogic and Cadiz and Three Valleys, we will eliminate the study as far as we're concerned. What they do beyond that is up to them. But I will say, we've been getting beat up. I'm not sure why. And as far as transparency, we couldn't be more transparent. We've held more public hearings. We've been on public comment.
Thank you, Brian.
An hour and a half. And when you do that,
right,
it gets a little bit frustrating to put up with it. I'm sorry, what? I'm
sorry, I interrupted you. I think I shouldn't have. Finish your thought, please.
Okay, again, I just want to be as transparent, and so does the board, as we can possibly be. We are out of the project. We are working on an agreement, and when it's done, this project will go away as far as Three Valleys. What Cadiz does with their project, not the Bonanza Springs, the Bonanza Springs study is all we did. And the 805,000 did not come from, it went from Cadiz. We don't spend our dollars at Three Valleys on the Cadiz project. Either they pay for it or we don't.
Thank you. Jeff, same question.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm not in the closed sessions with lawyers, I don't know exactly how to proceed. But I would say I think that the Bonanza Springs study was an egregious breach of public trust. No matter how the money got from Cadiz to Aqualogic, it got there with the blessing and with the veneer of legitimacy from Three Valleys board, from Three Valleys as an organization. And I think that showed poor judgment on the part of the board for doing that, for putting itself in a position to be potentially sued over this if they exit the agreement over the Bonanza Springs study. So in my perfect world, that would have never happened, but I will do everything in my power to make sure it never happens again.
Thank you. Next question.
I'm going to jump in if that's okay with one
Yes.
of live questions.
Okay.
And I think this will go to Mr. Bowcock first. And this question is, if we do nothing, when will we run out of water? What is the number one thing we can do to avoid disaster?
Well, hopefully we never run out of water. I'm hoping that the state project at the Delta, and there's a lot of people out there that don't think we need it, but you better get it. And we better have the Sites Reservoir. That's a backup of storage. If we're talking about climate change, there is no more snow coming. Yes, we will get the odd year that we will have a snowpack. The odd year, on top of that, we need to have reservoir storage to be able to identify and have water for the South. And the farmers need their water. That's a $28 billion business, and we're going to help them by having that storage available to them and also to the Southern California region. Along with that meeting I was at today for the Colorado River, they're working on it. And I will tell you right now, they're already thinking in 2023, there'll be a 40% cutback, not 20, 40% cutback, simply because if we don't have rain between now and the end of the year, we're in trouble.
Thank you. Jeff, you're next.
Sorry, could you quickly repeat it?
Absolutely. If we do nothing, when will we run out of water? What is the number one thing we can do to avoid disaster?
Okay, thank you. I think the number one thing that we can do to avoid disaster is number one, conservation. If we follow the lead of other places like Nevada, if we conserve water on the large scale, that helps tremendously for residential and commercial use. So that's number one. We can do agricultural efficiencies to help us use water much more efficiently here. I'm not dogmatic about this. I can be convinced if we have a good intergovernmental arrangement that ensures adequate water for the environment, but I am at the moment against the Sites Reservoir and Tunnels project because though they were can be used for environmental and in-stream flows as well as human use. Right now that Southern California cities are going full steam advocating for these, it looks like another water grab of the Sacramento River. And I think that could be disastrous. So I know we need more water. I agree we need more water, but I think that we need to be extremely thoughtful about how we go forward with those kinds of initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Javier, same question.
Well, not building the Delta would be do nothing. Basically, it's basically upgrading infrastructure that hasn't been upgraded in over 50 years. We need to do a better job to capture all this water because it's going into the ocean. Don't get me wrong, it's not the only solution. Mr. Bowcock's solutions of importing water and doing groundwater is good, but it's not enough. That has brought us into this crisis. Jev's solution of doing conservation, reclamation, is also a little bit better, but it's not enough. It's still going to get us into that crisis. However, I'm saying we need to do all of it at the same time, plus think of the future. And I'm going to get to that later. We need a all hands on deck approach, to this, because Brian is correct. Agriculture, we're the largest agriculture state in the country. It's over close to $50 billion.
Thank you. Rachel, I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to come back to you. Lack of consistent supply of fresh, potable water represents a serious threat to California's economy, as Javier has just suggested. This aspect seems to get lost on politicians and the public. What can TVMWD do about this? What can you and other board members do to prevent this crisis? Brian, I think Javier.
I'm not sure I understand. the
Javier,
question.
you're first.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking for, Barbara.
I'm going to let Javier answer this question first. Javier, do you
I'm
want me to
sorry.
repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Lack of consistent supply of fresh, potable, affordable water represents a serious threat to California's economy. This aspect seems to get lost on politicians and the public. What can TVMWD do about this? And what can you and other board members do?
This is a great question. California is the 5th largest economy in the world. If we want to remain the 5th largest economy in the world, or even be the 4th largest economy in the world, surpassing Germany, we need to provide basic necessities like water. It's not only for all of our residents, we're close to 40 million people. Southern California, through the Delta, serves 27 million people. So we need to be thoughtful of how we get this water, because it affects all the economy, not only the marketplace or when we go to the grocery store, but data centers need this. Manufacturing needs this. You know, water affects everything. And if we need it, and so that we need an all hands on deck, multiple solutions at the same time. One side, good. Other side, a little bit better, but not enough. We need to also look longer term to see how we're going to get more water and be more self-reliant. Like the Pure California is going to make us self-reliant, and I'll get to that. Like Brian, I was in a meeting today. I went to actually look at the plant.
Thank you, Javier.
Yes.
Brian, same question.
Okay, first of all, I want to go into what I do. They're already doing it. We have plants that are into the recycling of water. The one plant that's coming up is the Carson plant. That's going to give 150 million gallons of water a day. That's number one. Number two, San Diego, who was at this meeting today, they have the largest desal plant in the country, the largest. They're working on another one as we speak. They will be able to serve 75 to 80% of San Diego from this desal plant. The reason I'm saying that is, what happens to the water that they were taking, and what happens to the water that's going down to Carson that is sanitation district water? That 150 million gallons of water is a transfer. Metropolitan just says, you don't need the 150 million a day, turn the tap off. What does that do for us? It brings the water back up north, and we get to use the water up here, and it starts flowing back down the hill again. So what are we doing? Recycling. That is a big project for us.
Thank you, Brian. Jeff, same question.
Okay.
And I love the cat.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, could you repeat it one more time? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Lack of consistent supply of fresh, potable, affordable water represents a threat to California's economy. This aspect seems to get lost on politicians and the public. What can TVMWD do about this? And what can you and other board members do?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, most of the public, I think, is happy when the tap is on, when we can use water, and the board at TVMD and Metropolitan is there to make sure that happens. I think the recycling, like Pure Water California, the Carson project, is an awesome pilot program that is the tip of the iceberg. And for example, we could argue in our district for in 2021, the Budget Act for groundwater cleanup and water recycling has $150 to $350 million, with billions more in the coming years. We could propose groundwater cleanup in Pomona, sell that water to Inland Empire's utility, and now we would have, be able to use more of our surface water from upstate here. That could provide savings if we're maximizing some of our groundwater use here. There are lots of avenues we can do to try and make better use of our groundwater, clean it up, use it, transfer it so that we can really sort of enrich what's happening at Carson to the broader region. And I think that's the way it's going to go.
Thank you. Rachel.
Most of the questions we've been getting from the participants are really in alignment with the questions that we had ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to perhaps to the questions from our previous list. Thank you.
Brian, this will be for you to start. How can Three Valleys inspire our retail industries and private water departments to promote better water conservation as opposed to increasing profits?
That's a real tough one, but I was adamantly opposed to Golden State being there, and they know I fought for Claremont to own the system. It ended up in court, and of course, the only ones that win in court are attorneys. And so Golden State is still the operable unit now, and that's fine, because I think the biggest reason that at the time, Claremont wanted to take it over simply because they were getting poor customer service. I think that has changed. I think they're doing a better job. Ben Lewis, and I'll compliment him. Ben Lewis is doing a great job there, but there are things that need to be done. Yes, they make a profit. They probably make 15 to 20%. My guess is closer to 20%. Other municipalities, any of the municipalities or county water districts cannot make a profit. They have to put the money right back into the system. So that's the main reason that I wanted to see at that time Golden State be taken out of the picture and Claremont, the city of Claremont, take it over. I think it would have been the best thing since ice cream. So.
Thank you. Jeff, you're next.
I would just like to thank Director Bowcock for his tireless efforts in that. I know that he fought hard for Claremont ratepayers in that whole fight, and it's a shame that it didn't happen because of legal representation problems. But yeah, that's a tough one, right? The Three Valleys is the wholesaler, but it actually provides some of the least expensive water for the region, among wholesalers. And so it's in a tough position where it wholesales that water and has little say over what a company can charge for it. The best thing we can do is try and keep those prices as low as possible, at the wholesale level, and hope and encourage and nudge providers to inspire conservation, but that's a tough ask. And so when I hear candidates talk about we need to bring prices down, we need to make water cheaper for the customers, Three Valleys its hands are a bit tied in that regard, and that is a tough promise to make to our customers in Claremont and Laverne.
Thank you. Javier, same question.
Again, that's a tough question, and basically I consider water a basic utility. And Mr. Bowcock, thank you very much for your effort on this. And Jeff, thank you as well. But, as consumers, we can hold Golden State accountable. I mean, when I was performing my analysis to show how much we're paying more, like 50% rate, that was just for Three Valleys rates and not the retailer rates. Mr. Bowcock said it's 15% higher, and I asked Ben Lewis, about the rates. I needed the rates the last 20 years to get a trend line. He wasn't very helpful. We need to make all producers accountable as consumers. We need to know what we're paying for. We work hard for our money, and we need to know. So yeah, just like we hire folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question will be for Jeff to start. We were recently asked to stop all outdoor watering for a couple of weeks while a break in the pipeline was being repaired. No water company informed us of this, and it was difficult to tell from any map or information source which areas in Claremont and Laverne were in shutdown areas. What do you think of the role of Three Valleys is to informing the public of such events, and how can Three Valleys improve communication with the public?
Yeah, I heard a lot of that frustration, obviously, just living here. And, I saw that Three Valleys, posts on its website, communicating that, we're on a 2-week watering moratorium during that shutdown. And I think it's important that the agency is sort of the first stop in where people go to when they're looking for information about something like this or our water use. And I think it could leverage its position more in the educational field to expand education programs for kids, for residents, holding workshops, holding outreach activities, and making better use of communication technologies beyond the website, so that it is at the forefront of people's minds when they have a water issue or question, that they're going to Three Valleys and they're going to find multiple avenues to find the answer. So I think there's opportunity there for it just to become a better sort of in the community working partner. Thanks.
Thank you. Javier?
I think Jeff is absolutely right. We need to do a better job in outreaching all the communities all the time, to inform them of what's going on and why it's going on. My website has, like, for example, you ask me a question, I post it. I have coffees, Javas with Javi, to inform you. We would hire nonprofits because they're already out in the community. So there's that there's that trust, and they speak multiple languages. So we need to do a better job in that sort of thing. So yes, we need to outreach to the community. We need more transparency, and this takes multiple approaches. Under my leadership, I'm gonna lead that. Better communications to all community members, not only of why your rates are going up, why are we not saying that Delta conveyance is not a good idea, and so forth.
Thank you. Brian?
Okay, first of all, both Laverne and Claremont were not affected by the 2-week shutdown. And that's a fact. The fact is, you had the governor tell you that there was a 20% cutback voluntarily. That's all we had, because the line that you're talking about, that was Colorado River water. We're on state water, not Colorado water. So that's the first problem. Everybody did not understand that, but the water that you were getting during that shutdown, which comes across the Santa Ana River, that was not the line that you're getting water from. Three Valleys' role is to give money to any of the 14 agencies to help them better communicate with their people. And Golden State was right there. They did communicate. How they communicated, we as a wholesaler cannot go in and tell them how to do their job. That's not our job. Our job is to supply them with the money, any communication they need, and let them move on to their customers. Everybody else that was involved did do that.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump in, Barbara.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. You'll have to remind me who goes first, though.
Brian is first this time.
All right, Brian. What direct influence can or do you have on consumer water rates?
I cannot have any. Is that, you said I was first?
Yes,
Okay. We cannot tell them, we can't, even though I worked in Laverne, I can't go back and tell them, lower your rates. They just, that's not our job. We can talk to the manager. They have their budget, we have our budget, and we can't tell them how to set the rates. What I have done in the past is gone out and talked to especially the seniors in Claremont to get them to take that 1-inch meter out of the ground because of the cost, take it out of the ground and put in a smaller. I on my own did a survey maybe of 30 or 40 houses. And each of those homes took out the 1-inch water meter and either put a 3/4 or a 5/8 by 3/4 meter in. What does that do? The first thing it does is lower your water bill on the meter charge. The meter charge was $75 to $80. I can't remember now, but I know it was 75. That dropped it down to 35 to 40 bucks. So that was a big savings for a lot of the seniors that were on fixed income, and they did call me. And on my card, go ahead.
thank you. Jeff, same question.
Yeah, I mean, Director Bowcock, answered is it's outside of the job description, really. And so it's the thing that the Three Valleys can do is try to wholesale the water at a reasonable price and hope and ask that those agencies delivering the water do so at an affordable price. Beyond that, do personal actions like Brian had, but it's not the purview of the wholesaler to set the rates.
Thank you. Javier?
Both Brian and Jeff answered it. There's nothing that we can do except provide good water rates to the retailers. I mean, we can't tell them what to do. Kind of like we can't tell a farmer what they can and cannot grow. What I do know is, like, when they don't grow anything, there's fallow fields. And what that does is, like, for example, Brian was talking about a meeting that he went to. I went to a meeting in Imperial County. When they have fallow fields, that creates PM 2.5 problems. In those areas, that causes severe asthma rates among children. So we need to work together, to not tell people what to do, but to encourage them to do the right thing, not tell them what to do.
Okay. Do you have more questions, Rachel?
Not at this time.
I think most of the questions that we have asked have been answered in one way or another. So I am going to ask each of you now to give your closing statement. You can say whatever you want. You have 1 minute for your closing statement. Oh, 2 minutes for your, sorry. Thank you, Rachel. 2 minutes for your closing statement. And Javier, you go first.
Okay, I'm gonna finish up with what I started my, current policies are creating problems with our disposable income, for all consumers. However, it's really hurting people with fixed incomes. That means seniors on pensions, student on budgets, households that are taking time off to raise a child or to tend to a loved one who's ill, or just people that are going through hard times, which is just about anybody. So not doing the Delta conveyance will impact those people even more. Folks are saying, look, we got to protect the environment, and also progressives say we got to protect the environment, but human beings are part of that environment. And it's disputable whether it's bad for the environment or not, because scientists from the Delta, from the Department of Water Resources and from Metropolitan and other large groups are saying it's disputed. So to put politics in front of people is just wrong. Basically, this is a issue that should be nonpartisan. We need to take politics out of this, and we need to look for real solutions. Another thing that I would like to bring up is like resource recovery. Resource recovery basically is taking out using wastewater, wasted water could be wastewater. We could take it and make soil from it. We can reuse the water. We can make energy from it. They're doing that in in Carson. I did a tour today to see how it is going to work, because I'm a type of guy that likes to look under the hood and kick the tires to understand. I give real numbers and tell you how it's going to affect you. I tell you how it's going to affect the economy down to the kitchen table. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Brian, 2 minutes for your closing statement.
First of all, I want to let the people know that on my business card of Three Valleys, you'll notice, if you ever have one or seen it, it has my personal cell number, it has my personal phone number at home, and it has my personal email address. I'm the only board member that does that. The reason I do it is my voters, if they vote for me, I want to be able to let them know that if they call up the office on Monday, I may not get the message till Wednesday, Thursday. By then, whoever called might have forgot the question, or they're so upset with Three Valleys and me because I didn't answer it. So people call me directly. I guess that's my position. I have a lot of seniors, especially in Claremont, because of the fixed income and the things that they go through. And they call me. And that's why I go out personally and just take care of their problem. And no, that's not a stipend. It's just something that I do because I take it very personal. The other thing that I want to talk about is the farming up north. Those farmers, and Javier hit it a little bit there with down in the valley, down in the Coachella Valley in the Villa Verde area, they do fallow the land. And they're finding they get a better crop because they do fallow the land. So there's a lot of reasons behind it. But the Delta water, the most embarrassing thing that I can ever, and I tell the people this all the time, if you're at the city of Tracy, and I challenge every one of you, go to the city of Tracy at the Sacramento River, and when the water comes down the Sacramento River and the valves, our valves are open this much, and we're getting 10 or 15% on the water, watch the water where it goes. And I respect the Sassoon Marsh, the brackish water, but when that water comes down after a big rain up there and it goes right out under the Golden Gate Bridge, and then you're telling me that you want me to build a desal plant. So you got to figure, you got to give or take.
Thank you. Jeff, your closing statement.
Thank you. I think we're at a crucial point in water policy in California where we see a lot of action and different ideas sort of coming to the fore here. But we need to make some big decisions about how we're going to maintain a vibrant Southern California in the face of a drying climate. And both other candidates and myself are very serious about this. And Three Valleys Board is one of a big group of agencies working in concert on this. But I think it's arguably the agency with the rosiest view of climate change's problems and impacts. And the one that is championing, for example, Delta conveyance and more storage in a way that I think is not taking seriously some of the other actors that have a stake in this. If I'm elected to the board, I will not be proposing moonshot policy solutions. I think we should just be working with MWD, cities in our district, other water districts, 6 basins, sanitation, environmental groups, yes, and the state to pursue an integrated water management that is going to take us deep into the future. This is the kind of thing I totally geek out on. I love this. I want to be involved in it, and I want to serve my communities that I'm going to live in for the rest of my life doing that. Stormwater capture, water recycling, groundwater cleanup and use and conservation programs. These are the things that I think that we are beginning to be very good at championing, and we need to pursue these in a great deal in the future. These are not my ideas. They're not new ideas, but they're the things that I want to pursue. They're the things I want to champion. So all of that, and also a promise that I will always reject a corporate sponsored water mining project, no matter where it is. I will be absolutely transparent with the public. And I will be a pragmatist, a realist, open-minded, and a responsible leader if elected to this board. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for several different things. One is the extremely respectful behavior of all of you towards each other. We don't always see that in candidate forums that we do. So I want you to know that we appreciate that in the League of Women Voters a great deal. I want to thank all of our audience for being here and suggesting questions. I hope this helps everyone make a decision and cast your vote. I saw today that that our mail-in ballots are on their way to us. So we're getting this in good time. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Barbara,
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank you personally,
Thank
and
you.
Rachel for running that operation there. You guys did a great job, and thank you very much. Javier, thank you for being on here, and same with you, Jeff.
Best to you, Brian and Javier.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, all of you. This was a great opportunity, and go out and vote. No matter who you vote for, go out and vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.